It seems like a player that's just fed up with a lot of things that are going on, fed up with the losing that is. To me, he's trying to squash it as best he can in terms of not being a distraction. Obviously, he was this week in terms of what happened on social media. I think Antonio Brown does get affected somewhat by the social media. That's what he even said. I can't let that get to me. I can't have a reaction where I say something like that. I can't have that emotional reaction. He knows he caused a distraction there. But he talked about the team. He talked about wanting to win football games. He talked about being a Pittsburgh Steeler. If I'm his teammate, I'm happy to hear those things, and I'm happy to hear him try to squash that the best he can.
So Bill, as you have all this going on, you have Le'Veon in the background too, talking about Le'Veon Bell holding out from the contract. How should the front office and the coaching staff be handling all of this?
Well, first of all, I think they're handling it correctly. Number one, Le'Veon's not there. Forget about him. He's like a player who's gone for the year because of injury. He affects nothing. And until he comes back, there's no reason to even think about him. He's not going to help you win or lose a football game. That's number one. Number two, AB, I'm sure, regardless of what the situation was, got a fine, and that'll be handled internally. You don't miss work, so that's been handled. Mike Tomlin said that. And three, I agree with everything Teddy said, and I agree with everything AB said. Social media is the problem here. If I could give AB any advice, it would be, hey, buddy, you're a great player. Stay off it. Don't let it get under your skin. It can't help you, and it can't win or lose a football game.
Two of the problems that he's had, two of the biggest problems that he's had in Pittsburgh are self-induced, both on social media.
Facebook, Twitter.
One this week bringing up the word trade, whether he was asking for a trade, whatever it was, he brought it up in response to a former Steelers employee. The other one was after that Chiefs playoff game when the team is around listening to Mike Tomlin. He's taping himself on social media, on Facebook Live, taping the others around him Facebook Live, and that led to some problems there. Now, he may have a contractual deal, gets paid handsomely, good for him. Everybody should make what they can. But if he stays off there, I could live with some of the anger on the sideline, some of the outbursts. That's a lot more than some players show when some players are going through the motions on a Sunday. The guy is demonstrating fire and passion and wants to win and cares about winning. But the social media part is the part he's got to be smarter.
Listen, I didn't have a problem with the outburst on the sideline. I played with many wide receivers. Michael Irvin, for example, went off on the sideline. He was emotional. Tom Brady goes off.
You went off Sunday.
You hear Des Bryant years ago in Detroit. He had a similar situation, and it got misconstrued. Here's my problem with the situation. You don't miss Monday. Regardless of what happens in this situation, you do not miss Monday, especially when you are a leader on this football team. You show up, you understand that you lost the game, and you find a way to correct yourselves. But when you miss a day, that sets you back. That sets you back as a leader within that organization. It sets you back as far as getting back on the winning track, because it's not just about AB. It's about Juju Smith, who's sitting there watching the superstar, and Antonio Brown. It's about the young guys on the defensive side of the ball who are sitting there watching their superstar miss on Monday. He has to show up regardless of the situation.
If he had a good excuse, that's one thing. If he didn't have a good, reliable family excuse that was reasonable, then the fine has to be pretty darn stiff, and the rest of the players have to know that.
Right.
We won't find that out for quite a while, but that's what management and Mike Tomlin would have had to do in that situation.
You've got to think now, going forward, comes game time, all right? This is an opportunity for Antonio Brown to answer now. At least it's real for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the player that's had a little drama. This is the player that we have to support. This is the player that's with us.
That's right.
That's playing with us still, and we have to rally behind. Much different psychologically than wishing a player was here, the one that's not. So does this sort of help you move on because it's different type of drama? Maybe, because Antonio Brown is there, and now you can say, let's get him going.
Let's get by the drama, though. The reason Pittsburgh's losing is not Antonio Brown.
Right. That's the whole thing.
It's the defense.
It's exactly right.
It's been that way for 2.5 years.
And if the defense were playing better, and they were getting more of a pass rush, which they haven't gotten in 2 games, could there be, would there be, has there been a player who misses Monday when a team is winning that it just goes unnoticed because it doesn't matter because the team is moving along? Did you have players who missed Monday, Bill, when you were winning and nobody talked about it?
Not that I can recall. Well,
Okay.
a couple guys late. Yes.
Remember
Did
that
they get fined? Did they get
Yeah,
fined?
oh, you bet they got
Absolutely.
fined. Yeah.
Wood, I want to ask you this because you are a leader of a lot of big egos, a lot of big personalities in Dallas. With everything going on there, winless in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
what would you say right now to this?
Well, listen, we have to get on the same page. And I have to put my superstars up front. I mean, the young guys and the veteran players are going to follow the guys who are the superstars on the team who have been highly successful. Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown are the guys who when you think about this organization, this Steelers organization, those are the two guys that lead the way. They have to stand up. They had to set things right. And it was just like this in Indianapolis. When you guys started to falter, who was the guy that stood up? Peyton Manning.
18.
It was yourself.
You
It
win.
was Tom Brady. Your superstars have to stand up, and they cannot miss days. You have to show consistency through this process.
Because your head coach can only say the same thing over so many times.
That's right.
In a team meeting saying, we got to move on from Le'Veon, or let's move on from this. There comes a point where that message of the head coach has to be adopted by someone in the locker room and then translating it in a different way to them so it stays consistent. It seems like there is a disconnect between Tomlin and then the team because right now they don't seem like they're on the same page.